the support, the players. And then, when you mention something about the fans not showing up at games, why? There's a disconnect. Let me tell you what, in 2014, when I was NYIMBA media officer in 2016. Right before then, there's something Agassi was doing.
Watch Transit TV right now.
I'm Tochukwu Michael. Keep watching Transit TV.
Transit TV back again to the studio. We have the Big Sam on show today again. For those of you who have been watching our NPFL content, especially, Big Sam was here at the beginning of the season to talk about NYIMBA. The season just ended in Nigeria, and for the first time in a long while now, none of the big names made it on the top 3 of NPFL. I mean, Rivers United has joined that flag kind of now, but the real traditional names are not up there. Remember, Remo Stars won the league for the first time, followed by Rivers United, and you have what's their name? Ikorodu City that came third.
Abia Warriors.
Abia Warriors, out of nowhere, Abia Warriors came third, and Ikorodu City came fourth. No Rangers, no NYIMBA, Heartland got relegated. In fact, the season of long-standing draws and records broken in Europe came to Nigerian League this season. And today we have Big Sam to talk NYIMBA, who had a very, very abysmal season by their own standards in this just concluded NPFL season. Did very badly the CAF competitions. Remember, there are 2-time champions in Africa. They couldn't even get out of the group stage this season in the league. NYIMBA you have to search for them on the log table for NPFL this season. So with Big Sam today is on the show, and we are so glad that he somehow mustered the courage and found the stamina to come on the show today to talk NYIMBA, because usually as fans, because of our emotional investment, it's usually very difficult to talk about your club, especially when they're not doing well, in a very cool and objective manner. Sam, we trust that today you're going to give our viewers what they need to know and some hope, maybe going into next season. You are welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Victor, good to see you again. Our NPFL expert. You've done it again, pulled off this one. Big Sam is on show with us. Good to see you again, Victor.
He's the biggest NYIMBA fan I know. He has a blog dedicated for NYIMBA, and he talks a lot about NYIMBA. So today, he writes a lot. So today he's going to do the talking for about 15 minutes. Great to be here.
Yeah, Sam, midway into the season, you remember NYIMBA had a switch of management, coming in, and it still didn't help NYIMBA. I think they had a 13 winning streak this season. That was unprecedented by any sort of imagination. Tell us, did this change of management, did it in any way affect NYIMBA this season?
It's difficult to say, because Ochiyama was in his first major job. He started decently, but he kept on complaining about the quality of his recruitment. And then right about the time when he was able to get the players that he wanted, he had already finished negotiating with Brown Ideye. In fact, Brown was in Aba waiting for the team. The team was in Mozambique, stranded due to the poor planning of the NYIMBA management. So while they were waiting to get to Nigeria, get back to Aba, in fact, as they landed in Aba, he informed Coach Yama that they were done with him and Coach Egoma was taking over. But the trouble with Egoma was, we know him, he's a veteran in the league. Egoma is not promising anything special. It's just, these managers that, show up to just, they're ever present. He's not fantastic as far as his tactics. He knows.
Not innovative, not adaptive.
Exactly. So what he did was, he literally came in and then, of course, had to get his own players. And then They tried to solve that goal scoring problem. But the biggest problem that Coach Yema had was while he was there, he failed to use Joseph Atule, who turned out to be the hero of the season. Iguma himself opened the doors for Atule, and then Atule delivered, got him the goals that he wanted, And so, of all the strikers that Enyimba got, Atule ended up being like the man that delivered the goods. And to think of the fact that at least Yema's team were creating chances, they just weren't putting it away. Atile was on the bench. He rarely used him. So I think it was a case of, like they say, hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
He had what he needed. But being a rookie manager and being a coach that didn't really trust his players so much, he left him. And then the guy came in and said, you know what, I have a point to prove. And he ended up being, our player of the season. But as for Iguma, I think that with him next season, Enyimba will not do so well. That's my opinion. Because, look at the point of the season when he joined, now he still had a chance to get a continental ticket, which is what would have pacified every Enyimba fan. We don't win the league, that's okay. But that continental ticket, we have to get it. To the point he got to the Federations Cup, and then he got dumped by Abakaliki FC. Then in the league, 3 away points that possibly could have held him, just get a fighting chance on the final day of the season. But, he threw all of that away. So I don't think it's progress, Iguma coming in. And I also think that based on what we've seen this season, we will struggle next season with Iguma. Because the kind of coaches that Nigeria has right now, Nigeria League has right now, you just have to have a team that will go out and express yourself, especially away from home. We saw Enyimba and Rivers United did in Port Harcourt. That game, Rivers won 2-0. But the second goal was literally because at the end of the game, these guys were like, we can still get a draw. We can still get something out of the game. And then they pushed forward, and then Coach Finidi and his boys hit that soccer punch that literally ended the game. So I'm not inspired. I don't think any Enyimba fan is inspired by Coach Iguma. And I don't think that next season we'll see anything differently.
Yeah, listen to you speak there. I was going to ask you as well to summarize it, but it looks like by the report I can't just give now, it was an abysmal season, like I said, for Enyimba, from your perspective, and there's nothing good to talk about it. And I also know there was, at the higher level of management, kind of one who came in. I don't know. Looking in from outside, I don't think he has brought anything new, different, better, or that's helped that club or the team in any way. I don't know. Like I said, I'm looking in from outside, but as an insider, somebody that is, that is on Enyimba, that brings Enyimba day in, day out. Kanwanko, has he in any way helped Enyimba this season? Sometimes it could be doing things that we don't see from outside that is good, and probably it's not time yet for those things to, to show up, to show the benefits.
Well, Kano was a political appointment, like most of them are, but the problem with Kano, well, he was coming into a club that the former chairman has already established. This club is a winning club. The dike was already set very high. So coming into Enyimba, he knows that we have to maintain it. The trouble was his appointments. He just came in, and then all of the guys who were like the in-house staff who achieved a lot of the success with the previous administration, he literally sent them all packing. And then he went to bring in Ifeanyi Kweme, who, I'm sorry to say, he doesn't know he's just totally, I don't want to use the word naive, but that's just the kindest way I can describe, him. So coming in as sporting director, there are certain deals that Enyimba needed to do for certain players that were literally hampered by his inaction, his inactivity, So you have someone who, it just looks as though they are just in there for themselves, for their own deals.
Just having fun,
and then the biggest challenge for me, or the biggest thing that shows this the state of Enyimba is, look at the stadium on match days. Enyimba Stadium is empty. It is unheard of. In other words, the fans are disconnected from the club. On the final day of the season, they even threw the gates open. Yes, we still couldn't pack out our stadium. Telling you that the fans they don't care about what, they are not on board with the management. And I think that it is something they need to start doing. Quality recruitment is necessary. Certain players are owed match bonuses and all those kind of. Look at Abia Warriors. They are owned by the same government. But you have another team that has gotten the first continental ticket ever. They finished above Enyimba for the first time ever in their history. That tells you the story. Whereas the big club Enyimba is, wallowing in fifth or sixth. I don't even know. So I think that Kanu, yes, even though he has zero experience as a club administrator, how about you hire people that can help you succeed? Even if you don't know what to do, hire the right people and then let them do the work and you just come and take the glory, At the end of the day, the club progresses. And guess what? When a club is in the continent, they are an opportunity, especially if you make it to the group stages, they are an opportunity to make a lot of money. That's why in Africa, the big teams, the Al Ahly and the rest of them, they are there every year. There's a lot of money in these things, and then they reinvest it. So the money keeps coming. But when the money comes and you want to divert it to something else, what it means is that before long, you're knocked out. I mean, look at the guys that are representing Nigeria on the continent next season. Kwara United and Abakaliki FC have a chance to play in the continent, the CAF Confederations Cup. Enyimba is nowhere to be found. And we are in danger of being a yesterday's club. Like when they say, "Oh, we won 9 titles." When was the last time we won? 10 years ago.
Like Heartland
exactly.
Now.
Exactly. And Heartland got relegated back to back. But this is a team that used to compete in the semifinals of the CAF Champions League. And you look around, go to Owerri, look at the environment. So you can't believe this club had such they came this close, to a big name just on paper because of their history. So our administrators have to look beyond themselves. Being a visionary means, I applaud Felix Anyasiaku because, he has his faults. He wasn't perfect as an administrator, but he set the bar and ensured that Enyimba was always competing. And that's what the Abba fans want. You give it to them. Prove that you love the club, And I don't know, but I don't have a lot of optimism with regards to the future.
Victor, do you have any questions? I know you've been...
Well, the question I wanted to ask, he has already answered it, about the fact that the Abba fans are a bit disconnected because, we don't have several clubs in the NPFL that, tend to turn up,
engage,
that tend to turn up several fans at the stadium. But Enyimba have been one of them in the last couple of years. Not years, but in their history. Everyone loves Enyimba. And, you look at their games these days, it's not even about throwing the gates open. Even games where, they have to buy tickets. Enyimba fans gladly go to buy those tickets. But these days, you find the stadium empty. And let me just ask Big Sam this question. Are you saying Egoma is going to continue at Enyimba next season? Because as of now, I don't have the details of his contract. But are you saying Kanu Nwankwo and his led administration will allow Egoma to continue at Enyimba next season? And don't you think that the fact that Enyimba will not be engaged in any continental activity, that would be like a plus for them to league
to regroup and have more time to build that squad?
Yeah. Well, I hope so. Because you should judge Egoma based on, when Egoma came in, he was saying, the players were not fit, he didn't have his own players and stuff. Then he got a transfer window, then he signed his own player. Those guys still did not deliver. And then there are a couple of players who are out of contract. Someone like Brown Day, his contract was till the end of the season. Same with Junior Lacosa, who really didn't do much, as far as I'm concerned, So we have a lot of these players who are out of contract. So there's a major overhauling that's required. But the problem is, what is the vision? What do we want to achieve? And then you look at Egoma, you have to judge him as per performances. You're not better. Because at some point in the season, when we're measuring the number of games that Eguma had managed versus what Yema managed, you can find out that Yema had a better record, but Yema had a better record. So question, if you want to fire Eguma now, who do you want to get? Back in the day, if you offer Enyimba to a coach like Ochimama, he would jump up. Imama actually managed Enyimba for like 2 months, sometime in 2014. And he was eager to get the job full time. But then he never got it. Now he's with Abia Warriors. Now he's on the continent. If you throw him by a thing, I don't think he's going to listen to you. So question is, what coach is out there who you can not only say, hey, come and take over him, but you have to promise him the support, the players. And then, when you mention something about the fans not showing up at games, why? There's a disconnect. Let me tell you what, in 2014, when I was Enyimba media officer in 2016, right before then, there's something Anyasi was doing that he allowed the team to mix up with the town. What that means is this. You can actually tune in a particular radio station in Aba, and you hear Chinedu Doji is in the stadium or in the station. You can ask, that's the Enyimba captain, you can ask your questions. So people can call in, and of course the team was doing well on the pitch. But then again, they went further. They were in the city. They would visit the motherless babies. They were literally part of the community. But right now, you can't even interview an Enyimba player. There's this no-speak rule that, you call up anybody like, I don't want to talk, I don't want to get in trouble. It's not a dictatorship. We shouldn't run our football clubs like that. So Enyimba should go back to the basics, get players, find a way to keep them happy, and then get a coach that they will respect. At some point in the season, certain players were saying, in fact, there was a tweet that Brownie Day had made at some point talking about, he was literally criticizing Coach Eguma when he said, a blind man, when you ask a blind man to lead you to the promised land, what do you expect? That was when we had just dropped points at home to Shooting Stars, So there's a lot that needs to be done, but I hope the management understands what they are facing with the responsibility of Enyimba, because gradually the noises will get to the governor, and the governor has been doing well in terms of, the people love him, he's rebuilding the state and so on. But if he fails us as far as Enyimba is concerned, his legacy is tainted.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I mean, if you want to talk Enyimba, like you said, Enyimba is a household name in Nigerian league. In fact, most times I want to talk about Rangers. I'm mentioning Enyimba because of, at the point in Nigeria, they were carrying the flag of the country when it comes to African club football. Everybody tried to identify with Enyimba because that's the only thing that you can mention out there. We used to watch their games in continental level on television and stuff like that. So it's really sad. It's just like what happened in Europe. Sometimes these things happen. You go through that cycle. But the most important thing now is, what are they doing to get the club back to where it is? Because once you are serious and you have good programs, it's easy for you to also still tap into some relationship around the continent or the country to get back to, like you said, if Enyimba has serious program, a good coach, and are ready to pay well, players that still want to play for Enyimba, but they have to have those assurances, like you mentioned, that things are going to be different going forward. You look at what Amobi is doing at Rangers. Say they didn't win this season, they won last season, but you can still see that there is something going on there. Maybe it's not really well rooted yet, but you can, identify with it and try to see what happens. So yeah, Enyimba, for a fact, I believe needs to do more. Like you mentioned, I know you're being very nice with your words there. I didn't really expect much from Kano in terms of administration, but again, sometimes you can also use your relationships to get the job done. But it looks like he hasn't done that in any way, for the team. I hope he learns from this bad outcome for the club this season and try to use this break to tap into relationships around that could help him and Enyimba to get back to where they, because I know Remo is there now, I know Abia Warriors are going to be there, but these teams there's politics in football as well. They don't have it yet to carry that flag for Nigeria. So we still need one of these big names to be around these continental competitions to help Nigeria get where they will need to be and have that coefficient as well working in our favor. Because the more you don't go further in competition, the more you reduce your numbers, and that's not good for anybody. Yeah, Victor, thanks. I know if we have so much to unpack about Enyimba, we're still going to get you back maybe before the season starts. Let's see what they're going to do in the transfer market. I think there are going to be changes in management level and stuff like that. Then we'll come back again and review and preview the season and see, if there's going to be any hope for the fans out there. Thanks again. Our viewers, don't forget to, in the comment section, ask your questions, and we'll put the link to Sam's blog there as well. You can send in your questions so that he can address them on the blog before we get back on the channel again to have him to talk about Enyimba. Sam, thanks so much. It's always nice to have you on the show for giving us insight on the Enyimba. Victor, nice one, and good to see you guys again. And we'll see ourselves again later. Ciao.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bye.